I don't know if Pallante is a guy that is going to be a 180 inning guy.
Yeah, I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt because, we're only really into year 2
he's never done
of him being this kind of pitcher. I mean,
right.
he didn't become this pitcher until the second half of last season. So we're really like moving. We've seen the first full year of Pallante as a legitimate starting pitcher in your rotation. This is technically only year 2 of him doing it here as we move into August and September. So I'm willing to give him a lot of grace on the innings total and how he's pitching now with his innings, because I know people don't like this, but every number tells you that he is not just above average. He is borderline elite at getting soft contact and grounders.
Yep.
And so those numbers will play. The innings will come along to a guy as, again, he moves through his second year of having this profile as a starting pitcher. That's why I think it would be way too early. For instance, this could be Ben here jumps in. Pallante might have lost his 26 rotation spot for 2 things. 1, they don't have the bodies for him to lose his rotation spot this fast. And 2, he's just, there's too many good underlying numbers that were provable before you hit the 120 inning mark for the Cardinals to look at and say, if we can keep lengthening him out and get him to 180 innings, he might be able to be that guy. It's obviously there's still plenty of room for that to fall apart, but there's still a lot of reasons why they give him the chance next year to lengthen again by another 20 to 40 innings.
And I've given my example before. For me, a number 1 is a guy that's win day for you. That is when that guy goes to the post, you plan on winning that game. And then a number 2, you should plan. Sonny Gray, I think, is an ideal number 2, where you plan on winning most times when he goes to the mound. So that to me makes Pallante probably a 3 or a 4, which isn't a bad thing. But I just hope that he can give you. He's at 128 innings now. I hope that he can become a guy that makes. What would it be if he averaged 6 starts and did it over 30 starts in 6 innings? Okay, you guys are the math whizzes. So let's just do this. I was doing the schedule this morning, by the way, with realignment. I'm weird.
You were doing the schedule this morning with realignment? Yeah. That's fantastic.
So that'd be 6 innings a start for 30 starts to be 180 innings.
Yeah.
How about that? So that's what you need. That's what you need from that guy. Yeah, I was using my calculator to figure out the best realignment schedule.
Oh, we're going to talk. We're going to talk about that later. Then,
it's not perfect, but it's the best that they could do.
And you know what? I will say this: why the numbers. Maybe you should be pessimistic about, because let's be honest about this. I'll be honest about this as well, because last year it was a 3.78 ERA, 20 starts, and 121 innings pitched. He's in 4 more starts this year. He's only gone 7 more innings total. He's at 128 innings. So he hasn't been overall across the 20 plus starts more efficient this year. And he has a 5.04 ERA. So there are reasons. The WHIP's a little bit higher, the FIP's a lot higher, the ERA plus, which just kind of tries to give you that one number to compare him to the rest of the league. He was 9% better last year. He's 17% below this year. But his strikeout to walk ratio got better. He's allowed a lot of home runs this year. That's been the big thing that's been the issue for Pallante. Is last year he averaged about a half a home run per 9 innings. He's at 1.2, double what he was his 0.6 of last year. So there are numbers, for being fair, because there's a lot. Again, all the ground ball numbers tell you he can be this guy. He can be a 4 or 5. But there are reasons, in fairness, to wonder, to your point, if he's already falling apart again for the second year in a row at 120, 130 innings, and these haven't been a better 130 innings than last year, are there reasons to be worried? And I'll give you that there are some.
And I think there are also issues. Clearly, we know that there have been issues with the development of Cardinal players, and that means pitchers too. And it seems pretty obvious to me that the Cardinals have not done a great job of conditioning their pitchers to throw a ton of innings. And I know analytics people hate the idea of a pitcher going through a lineup a third time. I'm not asking Pallante to do that. They hate the idea of pitchers going much over 100 pitches per outing. That's fine. But I do think there's also a place in baseball for pitchers to be conditioned to give you 180 innings. I don't think that that's asking too much. And 150 is a number that a lot of the analytics people like now. I think if you're going to have a front of the rotation guy, middle of the rotation guy, if you're going to have a decent starting staff, you want to get a lot of innings. And I'll also throw this out there that the team that Chaim Bloom fell in love with when he became a baseball fan was the 93 Phillies. And Chaim Bloom can tell you all about the 93 Phillies. And I'm sure that he can tell you that Curt Schilling went 235 in the third innings, that Danny Jackson went 210 in a third, that Tommy Green threw 200 innings, that Terry Mulholland threw 191, and that Ben Revere, their fifth starter, threw 163 innings. There is a lot to be said in terms of protecting bullpens, which you use a lot, by getting 6 innings out of your starters. And I do think that that's something that Chaim understands, is getting innings and conditioning pitchers. And there's no better man for the Cardinals to have in their employ that brings a package to the table in terms of helping players condition themselves to be a horse and to think through a game and maybe even be able to pitch into the lineup a third time. No better guy than Chris Carpenter. It's a crime that he's not in the Cardinal organization, and he'd be perfect for that. Remember, well, you might not remember this, but when Lance Lynn first came up, okay, so Lance Lynn is here in 2011, and you remember in the World Series, he was big Lance Lynn, and he stayed in town with Carpenter for the entire offseason of 2011 going into 2012, because Chris really wasn't around much after 2012. In terms of being a Cardinal pitcher, he wasn't around at all after 2012. But so Lynn was running the steps and stuff with Carp every day, and he became skinny Lance Lynn. Now,
I remember this.
Yeah, skinny Lance Lynn wasn't as good, but he was conditioned. He was ready to go. And I think Chris Carpenter would be a great guy to help young pitchers become conditioned to throwing a lot of innings and being durable.
I believe this is like the dozenth time that we've been like, how do we solve the Cardinals? Convince Chris Carpenter to come back.
Maybe Chaim Bloom can do that
because he's with the Angels right now, isn't he?
Yeah, it's
come on, Chris, come on.
Okay, so during the pandemic,
we'll pay for the house in California.
Yeah, little inside baseball. The Cardinals had 4 guys on their payroll that were helping out minor leaguers and kind of roving around and just helping out minor leaguers. Those 4 guys' names at the beginning of the pandemic were Jim Edmonds, Chris Carpenter, Ryan Ludwig, and Jason Isringhausen. We're making about $50,000 a year. They all had enough money. They just loved baseball. They wanted to help the Cardinals, loved the organization. Pandemic starts, Cardinals fire all 4 of them. And when the pandemic is done, they only bring back 2. And Izzy is still in the organization, and they're lucky to have him. Ludwig is still in the organization, lucky to have him. But they decide not to use Jim Edmonds as a coach in the system anymore. And they decide not to use Chris Carpenter for $50,000 a year.
That's insane. See, and that's my thing about why I still criticize the misallocation of the resources. Like, I understand that that John Mozeliak wasn't given as many resources to allocate, but that's to me why failing to invest in the minor leagues is so, in my opinion, such a red flag, because what are you able to do at the major league level with $50,000? Or what are you able to do with, let's say 6 different people at $50,000 each? What are you able to do at the major league level with $300,000? It's nothing. It's a drop in the bucket. Expand it to $1 million. You can't do anything with $1 million in Major League Baseball. You can do a lot in the minors. They misallocated the resources in the worst way possible.